I, William Wyatt of Salem Coaster, testify and say that last Monday evening, being the 5th day of March current, I was in Boston, down by Treat's Wharf, where my vessel was lying, and hearing the bells ring, supposed there to be a fire in the town, whereupon I hastened up to the townhouse on the south side of it, where I saw an officer of the army lead out of the guardhouse their 7 or 8 soldiers of the army, and lead them down in seeming haste to the custom house on the north side of King Street, where I followed them. And when the officer had got there with the men, he bid them to face about. I stood just below them on the left wing, and the said officer ordered his men to load, which they did accordingly, to the utmost dispatch, and then they remained about 6 minutes, with their firelocks rested and bayonets fixed, but not standing in exact order. I observed a considerable number of young lads, and here and there a man amongst them, about the middle of the street facing the soldiers, but not within 10 or 12 feet distant of them. I observed some of them had sticks in their hands, laughing, shouting, hurrahing, causing fire, but could not observe that any of them threw anything at the soldiers or threatened any of them. Then the said officer retired before them, and the soldiers, and stepping behind them toward the right wing, bid the soldiers fire. They not firing, he presently again bid them fire. They not yet firing, he stamped and said, "Fire! Be the consequence what it will." Then the second man on the left wing fired off his gun, and then after a short pause they fired another one, as quick as possible, beginning on the right wing. The last man's gun on the left wing flashed in the pan, then he primed again, and the people began withdrawing from before the soldiers, most of them further down the street, when he turned his gun toward them and fired upon them. Immediately after the principal firing, I saw 3 of the people fall down in the street. Presently after the gun was fired off, the said officer, who had commanded the soldiers to fire, sprung before them, waved his sword or stick, and said, "Ye rascals, what did you fire for?" and struck up the gun of one of the soldiers who was loading again, whereupon they seemed confounded, and fired no more. I then went up behind them to the right wing, where one of the people was lying, to see whether he was dead, where there were 4 or 5 people about him, one of them saying he was dead. And I remember as the officer was going down with the soldiers toward the custom house, a gentleman spoke to him and said, "Captain Preston, for God's sake keep your men in order, and mind what you are about." And I further say not.